But since our supervisor says that he is in virtual agreement with the company's request, and the company came up here before us and even reduced some segments of it. I think the important thing for me to decide on is not that we should bring somebody in now, but really the distribution of this money.
Exactly.
Because we're not looking at a lot of different kinds
Yeah,
of
we are in
dollars.
distribution,
Well,
George.
well, I know, but I think
No, wait,
I'm going to be.
your figures were correct, but those are not the important figures, in my opinion now. The important figures are that Taylor's recommendation was $3.873 million for primary telephone users.
Well, this is what I was saying, that
That's
what I'm
where-
concerned about is where we're going to distribute this hype.
Right, and that's where you're.
And I don't know if another person coming in here, remember we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 experts in here last week. And every one of them had a different number.
No, you'd have to get a guy.
So I'm saying that if we bring in the 8th one, who will be paid by us, as our man is paid by us, and he gives us a different number, we still have to make the decision whether what he says, if it's different from the rest of them, is the thing we should follow or not. I'm not too sure I want to follow an outsider. When I'm satisfied with the numbers, I want to satisfy my own mind about the distribution of it. And this has been the biggest question in my mind. And frankly, I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I don't think anything of real value can be achieved by bringing in Price Waterhouse or whomever, like I felt maybe a week ago.
George, please, if I may answer directly, because that was all directed to me, obviously. First of all, had this recommendation been made to us by either Mr. Taylor, if he were the permanent supervisor, or by Mr. Nall when he was the permanent supervisor, and there hadn't been the resignation which resulted after the conversations back and forth, I would say we should take the recommendations, and I usually do take the recommendations of the supervisors and of the city manager, because I think they're very trustworthy, very honorable people. And I think these reports were honorable, both in Mr. Taylor's case and in Mr. Nall's case. But since he did resign, and since he did resign under the shadow that he resigned under, and since... Well, the shadow was a clear indication, Mr. Mayor, that he felt there was too much cooperation or whatever collusion or whatever term you want to say between city officials and the telephone company. I don't make that accusation, but I think the clear indication has been made both by his resignation, by the direct accusation by Senator Wilson, and I don't think I'm in a position to accept the succeeding report under that cloud.
I don't remember anything but innuendo from Senator Wilson. I tried to get him to come right out with it, and he doesn't. He got.
Well, he did it in press, and I don't think he did it in public. Here's the thing. Remember now, there used to be an allotment in the budget of the public utility supervisor, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Strader, Mr. Donald, which was in there for just this purpose, to get a rate judgment. Now, Mr. Taylor himself says, and I quote, and I think it's good, I think he's right, it's a complex task requiring a broad understanding of utility and regulatory practice coupled with specialized knowledge. I don't have that knowledge. Now, and I don't think anybody on this council does.
You have it if a man comes in here and tells
I think if there had been no situation where a man had resigned, I'm looking for the fact that when the second recommendation came in, there was a broad change in the distribution. The distribution was definitely unfavorable to the moderate and below wage earner, the moderate below businessman, the moderate and below home user of telephones. That's what I don't like. And that's what I think is creating the suspicion, and the only answer I see is to bring in somebody who is neutral and presumably fair to all concerned. Sure.
I want to make a substitute motion.
Before you make it, may I make a comment? I would say, first one, I think, make a suggestion that maybe
should bring in an outside consultant. But since that moment, I have reversed myself for 3 reasons. And I think it's proper at this time that I might make those comments. First, our Public Utilities Department, under the direction of Tom Taylor, has all the data accumulated necessary for the determination of the bill request. And for, and under that, I will put these things that should be considered, I think, rates charged by other cities in the United States of comparable size and sharing comparable problems to that. Data to reflect the rate base, which really is what we're getting down to, by their own admission, has to be a negotiated item. Employment of outside consultants and research teams would be a very expensive and time-consuming problem, which I feel would not be justified, since they would be only duplicating what our Public Utilities Director has already done. Thirdly, certain data presented to this council only a few days ago by Senator Wilson with reference to this rate increase was incorrect, as well as not being all-inclusive and did not present an accurate picture of our problem.
May I respond to both yours and Mr. Wise' comments before the other motion is introduced? Although I agree basically with many of the things Mr. Wise has said, I don't agree with his conclusions about the need for a consultant. Number one, hiring an outside consultant would not necessarily result in what I hope the council does, and that would be to adopt a rate below that which has been proposed. Number two, an outside consultant would add only to the cost of the taxpayer or to the telephone users, and coincidentally, that's $20,000 is the amount that would be generated by a 20-cent increase on 10-party lines. So we could well afford to give that $20,000 to those telephone users